Good luck. Good evening, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and I am joined this evening by one Mr. Chip Gettler. Just past him, we got Kenny Cat. Right below me, we got Nick's from Nick from Nick's Kix and Comics.
Yay!
And we have our man of the hour, the one, the only, the guy we've all been waiting to talk to because we're all fascinated by his restoration videos. Yes. Jerry the Jitterbug. Jerry, how are you?
Right. Very good. Thank you for having me on.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm doing well.
We're happy to have you, man. So before we get going, we always like to do is let the guest introduce himself to the audience. In case there's anyone here that hasn't heard of your channel before, you can give them a quick breakdown of who you are and what your channel's about.
Okay, my name's Jerry. Obviously, it is Jerry. And my channel basically is comic cleaning, comic pressing, comic destroying sometimes, comic leaf testing, CGC unboxing, CGC knocking, and just general comic unboxing as well.
Nice. And we'll say a quick hi to the audience. Warlord, how you doing? Hidden Gems, how are you? Digger Jim, good evening. Chop and Drop, great to see you, sir. Shop for Comics. Hello. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Now, Jerry, I'm going to guess that half of them are turning in just to see the face behind the man.
That's cool.
Teaching us so much about comic restoration and who stops our hearts every single time that he puts a book in water.
That is very popular. When I put books in water, it is very popular. People seem to like that.
Yeah. I don't know about these guys, but I catch myself doing it afterward. Every time I'm watching and you have a book submerged, I'm holding my breath like I'm watching it's suspenseful. I'm going, no.
Seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, like, the first time I saw that, I was like, no, he didn't. Oh, no.
Yeah.
He did not just put that book in water.
Yep.
I used to do that when I was in like 9th or 10th grade. I started doing stuff like that. So I've been doing it for quite some time. In high school, I used to work on books. And back then, it was more of restoration. I like to consider what I do now conservation. If I'm putting color on the book with any type of marker or pen or paint, that's restoration. But when I do that leaf casting and things of that nature, I like to look at it as conservation. And with this book that I'm working on now, Captain Marvel Adventures number 11, I'm going to send that in to CGC, and hopefully I'll get a conserved grade on that one. So we'll see what happens.
So you said you started at 10, and that was one of my questions, was when you first dabbled in restoration. But when did you realize that you had a passion for it and a talent for it? I mean, was that passed down to you, or is it just something you discovered on your own?
With the comic books, it was my own. But with other things, restoring things, it was in the family where we did a lot of car restoration and worked on old cars to make things better. And I always was very into restoring things. And then when I got into comics, I found a book in my local library when I was in high school, and the book basically had a chapter how to restore comics. And back then, it used to be promoted to soak the comics in chemicals to clean the covers, and they also, in the book, promoted color touch as well. So I used to color touch back then. And it was one of my mistakes in life. I consider this one mistake where I must have had probably when I was in 10th or 11th grade, about 6 or 7 high quality Batman Golden Age books under 15. And wow. I took the covers, I cleaned them, I removed them, I did color touch. And then ultimately I used to go to local comic shows. Like when comic shows were comic shows, I don't consider comic shows now.
Yeah.
The big ones, comic shows, it's more people walking around in costumes. I haven't been to one in a long time, but I'm talking about old school comic shows with old men, fat old men selling books that smell like musty.
Smoking cigars. And yeah.
Like that. So I used to go to those shows and I used to set the board up and I used to get the lights and put the lights on the books. And I brought all these Batman books just to show for display. So I had the books on display, and a guy from a local comic shop who I used to go and buy books from came in, and he takes out a big wad of cash, and he's like, "I'll give you $1,100 for all those books." I didn't even negotiate. I was like, "Okay," and I just took the money and I gave him the books. So that was one of my mistakes in life, dealing with comics, and I have a bunch of them. So I hope that answered the question.
So you were reading when you were you got into comics at a young age. Was your father or mother a reader of comics, and that's what fueled it, or is it just something they got to you that you saw at a store one day, they bought it for you, and you were hooked?
Well, it was more comics came in high school, but before that, it was always superheroes. I was born in the early 70s, and it was an awesome time to be born, I think, in my opinion. Because
1970 myself.
Yeah, so when you remember, Gary, when it was before the internet, before all these phones, before all the distractions, and what we had back then was Saturday morning cartoons, you remember, and it was the Saturday.
I didn't miss them ever.
Yeah.
Right, Super Friends, and I'm talking about the old Super Friends, which I forgot the names. It was before the Wonder Twins. It was the fellow with the white shirt on and the green.
And I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah, so I'm talking about the original Super Friends before Apache Chief and the Legion of Doom. So just growing up with that, that was something that was instilled. I loved comic books, Batman, Shazam, growing up as a kid. And then also that whole fantasy growing up with Star Wars in the 70s. I had growing up when Star Wars came out, we had someone that used to get movies on Betamax. So I had Star Wars on Betamax when it came out, and we used to watch it religiously all the time. So just growing up in that era, that's what got me into the comics. And I remember once, I have a very good memory, and I remember driving to Florida. It had to be in the late 70s, and we stopped our family at a rest stop. It was a gas station. I remember going in and seeing a comic rack, and I saw Justice League of America books from the late 70s, and my parents bought me 2 or 3 of them, and I just remember reading the books driving all the way to Florida. So that's really where it started. And then the funny thing is, when we got to Florida, we went to SeaWorld, and in the late 70s, you can see this on the internet if you Google it. In SeaWorld in the late 70s, they had a whole super heroes show with the Justice League, and it was all the Justice League, the Joker, the Penguin, and it was actors dressed in costumes, obviously. And they
come on, Justice League, let's capture a killer will.
It was. And there's some video on YouTube you can look. And so we all know that time was DC, in my opinion, the Justice League. Marvel was really cool, but for me, it was the Batman, the Shazam, and those characters.
So what got you into Wiz Comics?
I got into Wiz Comics because I noticed that the Golden Age Batmans were too expensive, the ones that I wanted. I have a lot of Golden Age Batmans, so I started buying Wiz Comics when on eBay, probably about 6, 7, 8 years ago. I started collecting Wiz Comics, and I got a lot of good deals, and you can still get a lot of deals on the Fawcett Comics, and I just like the covers. I like CC Beck. I like his art. A lot of the Batman Golden Age is very campy, in my opinion. It's not action. It's more gauged for children. But the Wiz Comics, I think they do a very good job, and that's why I like it.
Now, was there ever a time, and it's probably not going to surprise me the answer, but was there ever a stop in your collecting?
Yes, there was. There was a time from I would say 2 years after high school, when I went to college, and I went to school after college. And then what happened was I just stopped. I would say 91, 90. I guess I stopped when I graduated high school. And then I got back into it in the 2000s.
Was there ever a selling of your collection? Do you still have the majority of the stuff from when you were a kid?
I have some, but I sold a lot. I have the keys. I have the Hulk 181s, the Amazing Spider-Man 129, the XMen 94. I have all those key ones.
Yeah.
Still from when I was younger, like the Hulk 181s, maybe I paid $100 for them, like very cheap when I bought them. That's another mistake, because I remember I showed them on my channel. I have two Hulk 181s. One is a 7.5 restored, and I remember as clear as day sitting in my backyard with watercolors. I'm gonna make it perfect. And I remember taking red, watercolor, black, and
my Lord.
Yeah, so I color touched it. I'm thinking about cracking it open and maybe trying to remove the actual color.
But see, that was the problem with restoration. Is like back in the day, they told people to do that stuff. Color sets. It's what they do with the Mona Lisa. This stuff happens in every fine arts museum. You restore art.
Yep.
Except for somehow in the comics book industry, that's the biggest no-no. And it's so hard to find. Like if you look at really good Golden Age keys, they're all purple label, because like someone has restored those.
Yeah,
you're right, 100%. And there's good restoration and there's bad restoration. Like I'm bad restoration, and there's really good professionals out there. I'm a hack amateur, which sometimes I do good work. Sometimes I am getting better. Every time I do a book, I learn something, and I work on these books a lot off camera. And that's why lately I've been uploading videos where it's just like me talking in the background. And what I do is Metarog. So what I do,
oh, Raj.
so I like to basically talk over the photos, because a lot of times I can't concentrate 100% on what I'm doing when I have the camera over me, and I don't want to have the back of my head on the camera. So it's sometimes better doing it that way.
So being a kid of the 70s and liking the books that you like,
yes,
you must have watched, just like I did, Shazam, ISIS. Remember the Bigfoot show, the live action Bigfoot show with his sidekick? So you must have been a big Shazam and ISIS fan back in the day. Am I right?
Not necessarily ISIS, but Shazam 100%. And Gary, do you remember the roast, the Justice League roast that they had with Ed McMahon?
Barely. It's now that you say it, it's in the back of the mind. But it's not clear at all.
That was probably in 1978 or 9. And what they did was it was a 2-part special on CBS or one of the major channels, and they had a superhero roast, and it was Batman and Robin. It was what's his name who played Batman? Adam West. Yeah, Burt Ward was in it. And it was some obscure character. It was Shazam was in it. Solomon Grundy was in it. The Riddler.
I remember watching it on YouTube again, like a couple years ago.
It's actually on one of the streaming services. We watched it with my son about 4 or 5 months ago.
Okay, okay, terrible. Yes, that's right. That's right, Roger. Very terrible. It was campy. But here's the thing: when you're a young kid, that was fascinating to me.
It's magic.
Yeah. It was magic. It was magic, and it's fascinating. I'm a big Disney fan too, and when I used to go when I was younger, those characters were real to me until one day I went, and I don't know if you know the Rescuer movies with the 2 mice. So
Rescuer's Down Under.
Yep, the first one was
that was part 2.
Yeah, if you actually watch the Rescuer movies, the old one, if you have it, when they're flying down in the beginning on the Seagull going to their task. If you look in one of the windows in the city, there is a nude woman that the illustrators put in the window as a joke. So it's yes. So so I remember walking up to the mouse, and I remember looking, he's real, and then I looked in, and they had like the outfits, the costumes were not that sophisticated back then, and they had the mesh. I looked through the mesh, and I see the guy with the helmet on. It was very heartbreaking. I remember.
That's the way I used to be with the Incredible Hulk TV show. When they had Daredevil and Thor on, I'm like,
Yes.
man, we spent no money on those costumes.
That's right. And that was later, Gary, because that was probably
Yeah, that was way
80s.
later.
That was in the 80s.
Yeah, that was in the 80s. I remember hardcore whatever night that was on, Wonder Woman, Incredible Hulk. It was a wonderful time. And I had tons of toys back then. There was an awesome toy that you can see. It was a Hulk. He was made out of rubber, and he had a pump. Then he put him in a cage, and he was crouched in and used to pump him up, and he used to burst out of the cage. It's very valuable. You see it on eBay sometimes. And one thing I have to say, my mother kept all of my Star Wars toys. So the only thing I don't have is the Death Star, the original one, which was like half feet high.
Yeah.
I don't have that. I have the trash compactor to that and a few of the miscellaneous accessories. But I have the original Millennium Falcon. I have X-Wings, all of them. I have the original boxes too. So
wow.
It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I'm going to derail us a second and go to Comic Journeys thing. Gary needs to send Jerry a Conan the Mango for him. And I'm going to make myself big because Jerry and I have already conversed about this, but I was waiting to show this. So this is an incredible gift from my buddy Nick over there at Nick's Kix and Comix. And this is going to go out to Jerry, who's going to do the inside of this book is mint. The cover's got a little dirt and has seen a little love, and Jerry's going to work his magic on this Savage Sword of Conan #1, which is my raw reader copy. Again, an incredible gift from Nick's Kix and Comix. And I love this book, and I'm going to send it to Jerry to work his restoration magic on so it can stay incredible.
Yeah, I have that copy, and you have to be careful because it's a square bound book.
Right.
Yeah.
So I worked on mine, and mine had, I guess it was a subscription crease because they must have folded it. I tried to get it. I made it a lot better, but I poked the square bound out, and I'll do a nice job for you. I made a big mistake with the square bound because is there echo? Or is that just me?
No, you're fine.
Okay. I actually had a mint condition of The Dark Knight Returns, the first one, and it's first when I got my press. I'm like, I'm gonna stick this in. I put it in the press, and I had it in for about 15 minutes, and I opened the press, and it's like goo. The glue came out. I just but I have multiple copies of it, so it's fine. But,
so Jerry, I'd love to give you an update on the last batch you did for me.
Yes.
So I got tired of checking CGC, right? Because it's like a watch pot never boils. So I had checked over and over again just to see if there was any mention. And I remember I texted you to let you know I'd sent all that stuff off to CGC in June 9th. And so I'm not getting any kind of notification, nothing to let me know they've even gotten my books. And idiot me, I had thrown away the receipt that had the tracking number from the post office.
Right.
So I went back and I told the employee there, I'm like, look, I sent something. I need, it went to Sarasota, Florida. Can you get me the tracking number? They found it. I plugged it in and it got there. Right. So I started checking, nothing from it. But they've added a new feature now that if you go to CGC, it says, is my package or where's my package? They will at least let you now know, yes, it's not lost in Hell Hatchy Fatch. It's definitely in Sarasota. It's there. They got it. But there's no update for it, And so anyway, it's sitting. It's waiting to be graded.
I've had some good fajitas in Hell Hatchy Fatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you submitted books, you won't in May, June, July, you won't see them till 2022.
Yeah.
If you didn't fast track them,
that's crazy.
It is cool that they added that feature. I don't know if any of you ever called CGC.
I have not.
No, never thought you could do that.
I called and listen, I see ads all the time that they're trying to hire people, and it's like going to Home Depot the majority of the time. I'm a handy guy, plumbing, electrical. I can do all that stuff. And trying to ask someone at Home Depot a question, they look at you and they're working in the electrical department. They have no clue.
I know. What's up with that?
So I said to them, I go, don't you think maybe Home Depot should have a Home Depot school, maybe pay you, and the electrical department should go for a paid class, not free, and give you some tips so you can answer questions.
Learn the
Like,
basics.
no, they're paying us minimum wage. They don't want to spend the money. So I think a lot of that is happening at CGC because when you call them, and I've called them to make a few little complaints, and I'm speaking to someone. Number one, the person, it's a woman, man. They sound like they're working from their house. Number two, they don't know shit. They don't know anything. You can ask them, why did I get a restored grade on one of the books that I recently got? And I was trying to ask questions, and I'm a nice guy. So when I know I'm not going to get the answer, I'm done. I'm not going to push the point and beat the dead horse. So I know what I have to do to fix the books. But out of all the grading companies, I am a CGC guy. And I don't want to offend anyone. I just saw I live at Home Depot. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
People work at Home Depot. This is a culture that we live in today that people get offended very easily.
No, I'm really offended at people who live at Home Depot. I don't care if you work there, but if you live at Home Depot, I swear to God, Joe.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Jerry. We're not a PC channel.
Yeah. Kenny, I'm sorry because I was busting on Kenny one time when he was on the chat, and I was sending him messages on Instagram when he was a host, and I could see there's a lot going on here. There's this, that. So it's I'm trying to read the comments, but I can't. I only can do one thing at a time. I'm not that smart.
Now I've been leaning more towards CBCS lately. I've really liked their cases, and I feel bad for anyone who doesn't have a presser locally. Because local, you can get your book pressed in a couple days. If you send it to CGC, it can sit there for who knows how long. I would never have any grading service press my book.
You shouldn't. I had one book pressed by CGC, the Hulk 181, and it came back restored. It was my first book that I sent. I didn't even think about Color Touch. I'm like, I'm going to send this book in. I'm telling my family this is a $15,000 book. I get it back. I'm looking, it's a purple label, Color Touch, and they pressed it. And I'm looking at the book. There's dirt on the white on the Hulk. There's a big crease going over one of the letters in Hulk. They're not good. I don't want to talk. I don't want to really explain what I really feel because I think that they watch. I may be a little paranoid, but I think CGC has a few of those minimum wage employees on the internet, combing the internet and looking for feedback, looking for channels. And there's probably a back room in CGC, and there's that little logo I use, Jerry the Jitterbug, and they're throwing darts at it or something like that. So
yeah, it's just like the Matrix, where like the architect shows the screens, and it's just nothing but TVs, and it's all these YouTube channels. And it's like ergo concordantly vis-a-vis CGC. And so that's all they talk about. It's people who are talking about CGC.
They're back to like Mr. Jitterbug.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, exactly.
I like CGC. I will not switch. When I tend to like a product, I stick with it. I'm pretty loyal like that. And I may be a little weird with things because eventually I want to make a comic more like Kenny's. I like Kenny's. You did a great job with that. And what I want to do, I like consistency. So for me, having a different case and a different label would maybe bother me a little bit. So I feel that the CGC is the oldest and the best, in my opinion.
I got 2 purple labels, and it just kills me.
It doesn't bother me for ones that I know that I did something like that Wiz Comics, I'm looking at it now. It's the Wiz Comics that Shazam's in the Capitol. I know I didn't do any tear seals because I did it. And what I'm thinking, what happened was I removed tape and maybe I was rushing and I didn't get all the adhesive off. And when it was shipped, maybe it's heated the area where they store the books before they say that it's scheduled for grading. And then it's ridiculous. They get a book and then you don't even see it online for like 4 months later. Then it's scheduled for grading, but whatever, it happens.
Well, I got a question for you, Jerry.
Yes.
Have you ever sent off any Golden Age comic books? And because I'm guessing you're gonna say no to this because you know how to press. But my first experience sending stuff off, I sent off some Goldies, and those things came back in like magazine slabs, and I was so pissed off about that.
Well, I'm looking at one now. I actually had two. So I had, I think it's actually, what is it? I wear glasses, so I have to see if I'm looking. I had number 15. I had Batman number 15, which was coverless. So I sent it to get it graded, and it had some spine roll, and they sent it back. Actually, it may have been another one. They sent it back in a magazine case. And I think in one of my earlier uploads, I cracked it open because I didn't like that it was in a magazine. And I worked on it really hard to fix the spine roll and to shrink it down. And I sent it in again, wasted the money, but it's whatever. And then I got it back in a regular holder.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, right now I have a Batman 15, which is the last big logo, the big Batman. I think it's the one with the 50 caliber machine gun. Now,
yeah, I got that one.
Hypothetically, I had that book coverless. And then hypothetically, I found the cover online. Hypothetically, I bought that cover. Hypothetically, that cover may have fell on the coverless book. Hypothetically, I sent it in. Hypothetically, I got it returned with a universal label. So hypothetically, that should be a married cover or some other issues.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, I get a lot of books that I send with things, and I get the blue label. So they're not perfect. They're not perfect.
Allegedly.
I wouldn't do that though for books that I would sell. I'm an honest guy. These are my personal collection, and I went probably about 4 months ago. I went through a little. That's right, Roger. They are watching. I know they are. A dart went right there by one of those guys there. So, but what happened? So, what was I saying? Oh, so I wanted to get rid of a lot of long boxes that I had from the 90s, always earlier, and I started opening up a YouTube store. So not YouTube, eBay store. So I got a lot of listings on eBay. Like I was selling those, what is the one? Toxic Avenger #1. I have like a short box filled with those ones in nice condition. I have a lot of those 90s books. I used to buy them 20 at a clip. So I started doing it. And then by the time I got the order and it was sold, and I sold 4 books for like $5, $6. And then I'm packing them, and I don't just throw them in a little packing container. I have to do the tape. I have to cut the tape. I have to make it perfect. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing for $7? 20 hours to sell 4 comics. So I have too much on my to start doing that. Okay, I'll be quiet. I'm sorry, I talk a lot.
I hate. Hey, Jerry, I was curious. What is the crown jewel in your collection? What is that one book?
You know what? That's a very good question. I have a lot. I don't really have super crown jewels. You know, I have to think about that, and I'll make an upload. I have just a lot of golden age books that I enjoy, and are they the crown jewels? I don't think I have ones. I think the crown jewels that I have to say are the ones that I kept from high school, like your Bronze Age Hulk 180 ones and 129s, but
the sentimental ones that you got,
but they're worth money. The Hulk.
Yeah.
So,
it's because you're old, and back in high school.
Sure.
I've seen a lot of really great stuff on your show, and you have stuff that I would love to have. Not like the whole, it's all the golden age stuff, like especially like the World War II stuff.
Right. I collect. I go on eBay probably 3 times a day, morning, lunch, a few times, and I do all my searches. And I'm starting to get into Golden Age Superman. I was never a Superman collector. I don't have any Golden Age, but I really I saw a video, Alex, the comic quarter, he just showed some nice Golden Age, Superman's World War II ones. So I like anything World War II themed, and I'm gonna start looking for those books. But I'm not.
I'm gonna tell you, like, if the Superman Golden Age World War II are like the peak of like the expensiveness, everything else goes down from there.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, there are probably some of the best World War II covers, and they're not necessarily like racial, like Shazam can be.
Yeah.
But they're like uber patriotic.
Right,
You know, they're not
100%.
taking a stand against the enemy. They're more about like selling war bonds. And so you have like the one, it's a solid black cover. He's holding his arm out. There's an eagle on it. You know, like those are great books, but they sell for like thousands of dollars.
I'm looking for low grade ones, and I'll try to clean. That's all I'm doing. I'm looking for low grade. Actually, I bid. There was a Batman #1, and I went up to like $6,000 bidding on it. It was a coverless one. This was like, I don't know if any of you saw it on eBay. It was probably about last month. So I was ready. I would have paid $6,500 for the book, and just to have the Batman #1, and then I was really thinking I could maybe cut the pictures and clean them. I'd sell just individual pages and try to recoup my money, and then whatever I am left over with, I'll have. But it sold like for $11,000, a coverless Batman.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, my family's happy I didn't buy it. So because I don't spend a lot of money on comics. When I buy comics, maybe $50, $60.
Yeah, I think that's one of the alluring things about your show. Not only do you do amazing work, like you're like a mad scientist, seriously, and totally gifted. But you always talk about these amazing finds. Like you find some really good pieces at like a really small price. So is eBay your main platform, or do you use Comic Connect or Comic Link or
just eBay? That's it.
Just eBay.
That's it.
Good. It's nice to know that I'm not working against you for a Wiz Comics lot that's on Comic Connect right now.
There's a few guys I'm friends with. Night Tiger. I don't know if you ever watch his channel. He's a real cool guy, and we like text each other and say, "Listen, I'm bidding on this book. Back off." And he'll do it. Very big into Golden Age books. So, but I don't want to spend a lot of money on books unless it's a really, really key book. I still have dreams that I go to garage sales, I go to estate sales. I'm very big into doing those things, looking for books. I found good books. I found what's the first Mephisto Silver Surfer number, was it 3? I found that in the estate sale, and I think it was Hulk. When they just rebooted the new Hulk, was it 101? I think it is after Tales. What is it? Tales to Astonish, I think it was, with Hulk. So I found a few books like that at estate sales and garage sales. So I'm always trying to find things outside of the box, and I, like I said, I have dreams at night that I go to a garage sale. I'm going through old books and old things, and I see a Batman or Shazam or really old books, and hope they're still out there. I really think they're still out there.
I have that same dream, except for the person that's selling the comic book is a really hot woman.
Oh, that's good.
So, Gary, I got to ask you, man, because I've been dying to know, with your restoration, what is your favorite thing you've ever restored, both comic and non-comic? Because I know you've restored other things, and I know you're a big cuckoo clock collector too.
What? Yeah. I have a problem, because if I like something, one is not good enough. So I like cars, and I'm going to get back into the cars. So with the cars, I have a 1969 Chevelle. I have a 1979 Corvette. I have a 1969 Corvette. I have a 1985 El Camino. That's all I have. So these are all projects that I'm working on. The Corvette, I think for cars, my 69 Corvette is my thing that I'm most proud of, because I took the body off. I rebuilt the engine, and I'm going to get back into it. I want to get that car on the road.
Which one are you going to let your daughter drive to school?
Well, the 69 is a stick. She can drive a stick. she can drive it. I trust. She's good.
Damn. Look at
But
you.
How awesome would that be?
It's very
I'm
dangerous
telling you.
because there's no airbags. You know that there's no airbags or anything like that, and
Right.
and the 69 doesn't have power steering. So I broke a steering wheel one time trying to make a quick turn. That's just manual steering, so it's
Yeah.
very hard. It's slow to drive the car. The comic books, that's a good question. I'm gonna have to say, I don't have an answer. I did so many of them, Gary, that I don't have an answer. Sometimes they just all blend. I have like 5 projects going on. I just did that. I just did the book for Metarog. I'm happy with that book. That was I'm more happy that he was happy. When that made me happy because he was very complimentary about the book, and I really enjoyed that. I liked working on Kenny's book. I liked working on the Wonder Woman was cool, but I think the what was it, the Flash, Kenny?
Flash.
I think that came out better because it was a better book to work on.
Well, yeah, that book was a piece of shit, and
Yeah.
you turned it into like Egyptian cotton. It was amazing. That Wonder Woman wasn't in such bad shape. Like, it really wasn't that bad. It had some weird mystery stain on it, and it was like, I don't really know what this substance is.
Like,
I wore gloves when I took that off because it was Wonder Woman. It was from the 40s, and who knows? A little boy may have been in the bed. No, forget it. Who knows what happened?
Justin Kenny, it was yours.
No,
Oh
no, I only use new books.
That's true.
Listen, can we keep going with the comic book stuff?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
No,
Nick.
it was you find strange things in these old books when you're going through them, and you find a lot of crust and crud, and you have to be careful taking it off. So,
What are you still actively reading, Jerry?
nothing.
Nothing?
No. I don't buy any,
Club.
I don't buy any new. When in the 90s and the late 80s, I read everything that came out. I used to read. I loved it. And now I just don't read it because I don't buy new comics. I don't buy new comics. It's not my thing. I have nothing against the new comics. I watch a lot of you guys showing the new comics. They're cool covers and whatnot. I just don't have time to do it. So I read a lot with work, and I try not to read things outside of work if I don't have to. So I don't read anything, I have to say.
Not even your Golden Age goodies?
I do read them when I'm working on them. I'll go through them. I like it. It's a simpler time. Now I'm hearing things in the comic world that I don't know if I necessarily agree with changing characters. Like Robin's bisexual. Is that what? I have nothing wrong with bisexual or anything like that. But why are we changing a character that is so old and ingrained in society? Why are we changing him? Why not just make a new character?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a common argument.
Hey,
I've heard it all the same way. Why change a character that's so institutionalized that's part of the zeitgeist, right? Why would you do that? Just create another character. But to each their own.
Well, I don't have to deal with it, and I don't deal with it, and I don't. And no, believe me, my personal life, I don't deal with a lot. So the thing is, I don't like rewriting history. It really bothers me today, and I'm actually in a bad time. Not that I'm depressed or anything. I'm very happy. I just don't like what's going on. Like in New York right now, they just passed a law. And Gary, you know about the law where they're not going to be able to sell gas-powered cars, new cars, starting, when is it, 2027, I believe it is. So I guess we're at that change in history where things are moving to a different direction. And it happens a lot during the Industrial Revolution and times like that. But now I think we're getting into this whole electric car phase and changing what you have to do and what you can't say and what's politically correct or what's politically not correct. So It's hard for me. I'll adapt though. I'll
So
adapt.
you're gonna love this because the new rumor is that Marvel is considering changing XMen because they're pigeonholing that and they want to change it to something that encompasses all genders and associations.
Why?
The funny thing I see it on it was Legion of Comics Mark ended up saying X they them, instead of X-Men.
Well,
Like,
I don't.
Geez, it's insane.
I don't get it. I don't understand why.
Yeah.
But whatever. Let
No, I
them
don't
do
either.
it. Let them do it. Let them have fun. If the
Yeah.
artists are doing it, whatever. If people buy the books, I guess if there's a demand, then it will continue to happen, right? When people stop buying comics, and when people
It's not like we don't say like policemen anymore. We don't say firemen. I mean, it's firefighters, police officers.
Yeah, police officers.
So what do you call the X-thems?
Yeah, I know.
Well, that's their name. It was X-Men. So what are you, X people? Is that what you're going to do? They're going to change it to X people? Maybe. Is Bruce Wayne going to be a bad guy now because he's rich and has money? That's a trend. People don't like people with money.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe they'll make him poor now and he goes, fights crime. Who the hell knows?
I blame it on this generation not growing up with Archie Bunker.
There you go. There you go. I'm with you, Nicholas.
It's humor, and you have to take it with a grain of salt. And I love All in the Family. I actually feel that when the terrorist attacks occurred, I don't know if you recall the episode where he was on a public commentary thing on the local news, and he was like, "I'll tell you how you stop hijackings on planes. Before everyone gets on a plane, you hand them a pistol. So everyone has a pistol on the plane. So when the terrorists come, you're not going to be able to do anything because everyone has a gun." So it's really something that is cool. Today, we're too sensitive, very sensitive flowers out there.
It is.
Yeah, cancel culture. There's good intent behind a lot of things, but
they're just trying.
A lot of stuff goes too far.
They're trying to strong arm it into effect, I think.
Right. You're right, Nick. Don't impose your will on me. And if you want to do whatever you want to do, go do it. I don't care. Just leave me alone. Don't bother me. Don't shove it in my face. If you want to do it, I have no issue with it, as long as it doesn't impact me. And there's a lot of issues, and I guess it's spilling over now to comics. This is a comic channel, isn't it, Gary? Aren't you the moderator?
It is.
Getting off a little bit.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's good. Because I'll tell you, I was reading one of those golden age books. You want to talk about racist? You look at the Wiz comics back in the 40s. If you want to look at things like that, but that's how it was. That's how it was back then, and you can't fault a whole generations. It's just, I think it shows the positives with the culture where, okay, this is how it was in 1940. Now we're this way in 2020. So we're evolving, and it's a good thing. And don't burn it and rip it up and throw it away because it has some racial insensitivities. It's just how it was.
Well, yeah, you have talked about CC's Beck specifically and how, like, while the artwork that he did on African Americans is looked at today as like highly stereotypical and it's very offensive, but he was still trying to put African Americans in comic books at a time where that was unheard of. So, like, it's really difficult to look historically at people in the past and hold them to our expectations. You cannot do that,
Sure. Well, the main character, Steamboat, what that we're talking about, he was, stereotypical drawn, and he was a hero in the book. So it was very positive, and the reason they did do that, like Kenny said, was to try to bring in African Americans to read the books. And then actually they changed it because I don't know what group it was. They went to Fawcett Comics, a bunch of high school students, and they said, listen, Steamboat is not cool. Could we try to get rid of him? And they actually removed the character from the comic. So they listened and they did it. So what happens if it was an African American who was gender confused, gay? we wouldn't see that today, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes because I still do have a question for you that I wanted to get to. Because
I'll try to keep it down, Gary. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good.
And we
But
haven't
I
even
don't
talked
forget
music
this,
yet.
I learned this on your channel, and I didn't know this existed before. Pedigree Comics.
Yes.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask you about Pedigree Comics, how you found out about them, and why does it make it more valuable that they're able to write on the actual comic and it doesn't affect the value? Like, how is that a thing?
Dude, Pedigree books are the shit.
I mean, that was the first video I ever seen of Jerry was him talking about a pedigree and sending it in and then getting it back and them telling him, no, it's not pedigree. And he's just like, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean it's not?
Dude,
And I'm like, I was like totally like hooked into this thing. Like, what the hell is this about? Oh my Lord. This is
got
awesome.
screwed a few times. I think it is. Okay.
Yeah.
And I called them and I tried to reason with them. And what it is I guess CGC recognizes certain groups of comics or collections that have a specific mark on it to designate the actual pedigree. So, like Mile High, I'm sure you heard about that, and all these different collections.
That's the first pedigree.
Sure. So what I had was a few Pennsylvania pedigree. CGC on their website, they show one picture after the other. It's a pencil P on it. And what happened was I got a few books with the pencil P. And then I researched it. I went on eBay, I went on the internet, and I researched the actual pedigrees, and I look at the marks, and I was dead on where I thought this book was a pedigree. I could have took my book and one of theirs and put it on top and put it in my light, and the P's would have been the same. But they said no, they couldn't designate it. So then when I get angry, I try to prove a point, but then it fizzles out. So what I did after they said no, it wasn't a pedigree, I went back to the original owner I went back to the person who I bought it from on eBay, and I'm writing them on my computer. Could you contact me? I have a few questions. Where did you buy the book? And then I tried to backtrack where the book came from, because I was going to go out and I would have went and got affidavits from people and had them sign affidavits.
Oh my Lord.
This book is a pedigree. And then it fizzled out. And
hello, are you John Smith? You've been served.
Right. So it fizzled out, and I stopped, and I went on to my next project. As you can see on my channel, there's a lot of Saga episode 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a few of them in the past they fizzled out. I never made 3 or 4 because they're sitting on the shelf somewhere. I'll get back to it. So pedigree. Did I answer the question with the pedigree? Sort of.
I always just thought it was odd that it would be worth more when somebody literally wrote on the cover. And
well, because it's a part of a unique collection. Whether they're worth more, I don't know. Maybe Kenny knows. I don't.
So what do you know, Gary? What do you know about pedigrees? Period. Like,
just what I've seen.
There is a very specific rule for being a pedigree.
Well, that is part of a private-owned collection.
But it also has to be a huge collection, and it has to be in like near mint condition, preferably from the Golden Age. There are like 1 or 2 Silver Age exceptions, and I don't even think there's a Bronze Age pedigree. So it has to be old. It has to be a shitload of them, and in like perfect condition. And so,
sorry, Ken.
No, it's cool, man. Because like I was going to talk about my low grade pedigrees, because we were both bidding on them, and we didn't know it until like we met later.
I've seen them for lower grades. I have on my iPad pictures when I was doing my research. They can be 6s, 5.5s. I saw a few, and I actually believe I saw some Bronze Age pedigrees. The best way when I do research for these things is I'll just Google it and I'll hit images. And then I'll just go through the images, and that's how I research a lot of the books. So the rules aren't consistent, and that's why those people at CGC pissed me off. And I forgot one of whoever I spoke
absolutely.
To. I don't know who's the head guy there. I don't even want to mention the name, the guy who does the videos with the glasses. And she was like, I'm sure that blank knows what he's doing. I'm like, okay. Like, what do you need from me to try to get this to a pedigree? and then it fizzled out. So that's the pedigree. What I don't understand, and I don't like at all, I actually despise it, is signature series. I do not like signature series. To me, what you just said, Gary, you don't understand how things could be worth more with the signature. Newer books, I can see signature series, but like when I see a Hulk 181 signed by a geriatric Stan Lee, and a little doodle covering a beautiful cover, I don't like that, because I think it's actually depreciating the book, in my opinion. I'm not a big new books I can deal with, but not the old.
I agree with you on that one. I would much rather see an older book with the signature on the inside.
But see, that falls into two categories, right? The signature series, you have your like creative types that actually put their blood, sweat, and tears into that work, versus a fucking actor that is playing that part. Like, so CGC, I'm a member, right? And so I get emails. They were going to charge $1,000 for a Robert Downey Jr. signature. And then if you paid an extra $500, just an extra $500, you could have him say Iron Man, or, but not both, Tony Stark. Fuck that shit. Yeah, no, I love RDJ.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's not for me. I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want to ruin the book. I'm not going to pay $1,000. Listen, I like the movies that are coming out today. I like Marvel movies. I think Marvel's better than DC, personally.
Yeah.
So Marvel is great. I like the buff action heroes. Like, I saw a meme, I think that's what you call it, like action hero of the 80s. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, and then it's like action heroes of 2020, and it's Robert Downey Jr. with the skinny suit on and the big head. It's not like I'm telling you, it's completely off. You know, you would flick them with a finger and they would knock down.
Yeah.
So that guy who plays Thor, he's pretty cool. I don't know his name.
Oh, Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth.
I like him. He's good. But that's what I have to say about that.
All good answers. Now, I never saw in any of your videos, and maybe I missed it. What inspired you to actually start your YouTube channel? So I was kind of curious about that. And then how you got Angelo into making videos, although I haven't seen Angelo put out a video in a while.
Yeah, okay. Well, I started it. Why did I start? Well, it was because of COVID. I was bored. I was home. And I started, I had all these books, and I'm like, okay, let me show them. And I started, actually, I'm 11 months on YouTube. So next month in October will be 1 year that I'm up on YouTube. So it's pretty cool. I can't believe I did it this long. I can't believe I do all these uploads. I'm like, really? I'm really doing this, I think, sometimes, but I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. So I actually looked at my first upload that I put on YouTube. I watched it earlier, and I'm like, wow, I was sort of a little flat and a little bad. I guess if you look at your first videos, you're not as good as you are now. Not that I'm good, but I'm a little bit more entertaining.
So mine are atrocious.
Yeah. So I started it because of that, and then I just kept on doing it. I said, oh wow, I got a comment. I think like one of my first comics was comments with slim comments. I was like, oh, that was cool. So then I started getting more comments and more, and I just enjoy doing it. I wanted to be a teacher early on when I was going to school, but that never happened. And I sort of like teaching things. I think I'm pretty good at it, and I can do it in steps where it works out. So I enjoy doing that as well. So that's how I got started.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it's funny how many, there should be a study at some point, and I'm sure Kenny, the historian, will get to it at some point, about of the YouTube boom because of COVID.
Sure. Yeah,
because it can't just be the comic community. It had to boom in a bunch of different areas of YouTube and in different communities when COVID hit.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine. And when I do things like for my oil burner, and there's an expansion tank. You have oil burner. You have gas or oil, Gary, at your house?
We're gas.
Okay,
Natural
well,
gas.
the oil burner has an expansion tank, and I had to change it. And I'm like, should I shoot a video? Maybe people would like to know, so they don't have to pay $300 to a plumber. It's a $20 part. It takes 15 minutes to do. So I set up the tripod, and I started, and I'm like, what the F am I doing? This is getting a little weird now. I'm not going to start doing things changing plumbing parts now. Just stick with the comics. So
I have a lot of videos that are like that, sitting in a computer that I'm like, why did I even do that? It's like no one cares about that in the comic community.
I'm trying to broaden it. I'm happy with my subscribers. I get a few a week. Maybe sometimes I don't get a few. I'm doing these giveaways. That helps a lot. But it's not, I know I'm not going to be rich getting 1,000 subscribers, or I don't even know if you get money if you get 1,000. I spoke to people on YouTube that I haven't seen a dime, and they have 1,500 subscribers. So it's just a competitive thing where I want to see that people are subscribing to me. And one thing I hate is, like Gary, when you do the shout out videos, and no names or anything like that. And you say it sometimes. You said it on many of your uploads where, okay, if someone subscribes to your channel, subscribe back.
Right, it's a courtesy.
It's courtesy, and it drives me effing insane. Where I'll subscribe, I'll make my comment. Oh, I'm looking forward to see your channel, all that shit, and then I get sub back, and then in the morning I see they're all gone. And I'm thinking, why is someone doing that for? Because there's a lot of sickos out there. And I think maybe they're looking at, they don't like the way you look. Well, they don't like my hands with cuts all over. Who the hell knows? But it's a weird thing. And also negative. I get some negative comments sometimes on my videos. Actually, the one promoting tonight, I did that quick little news alert. And I'm looking at it. I get a thumbs down. I'm like, who the fuck put a thumbs down?
No, that was me. I was thumbs down to myself. Yeah.
I get thumbs down. I have a troll. I really do.
Oh, well,
hey, you made it when you made it when you get the thumbs down, though. That's it.
That's cool.
You get the back comments and you get the thumbs down, you've made it.
No, with negative comments, I just say to them back, I go, "Whoa, thank you for commenting." And I just do it nice.
Thanks for helping my algorithm.
I'm not going to get into the debate with these mental midgets. I'm not going to do anything.
No, it's not worth it. Not worth it.
Well, it's funny too that you said that, because last week when we had Fable on, who's probably one of the nicest guys you could ever talk to. Yeah. And there was already 5 thumbs down over political YouTube crap, which doesn't matter. And I'm like, well, thank you for the thumbs down, because that actually helps my algorithms. If you guys wanted to not help, you just don't interact at all. And that's if you do any kind of interaction, it helps the channel.
I'm sure. I hope I don't lose any subscribers based on what I said tonight, because my wife says to me, "Don't talk politics."
We got one thumbs down so far, Jared.
Because wait, so I have to go resubscribe.
It's only because I'm here. The thumbs down is because of me.
No,
I didn't do it.
Maybe, who knows? Thumbs down. That's great. Have a nice day, guy. Go around to a different channel, because I never talk any politics. I do my political view different ways without speaking, with my American flags that I put at the end, and I do my patriotics. I'm very patriotic, and that's one of my favorite things of getting commenting with Paul. Okay, yeah, that's one of my favorite things, getting flag covered. So, oh God, okay.
Yeah,
that's just Taylor being funny.
Taylor.
Oh yeah.
But see, that's the thing, though. I mean, why can't you be patriotic and be Democratic or Republican? I don't understand why it has to be both ways. Because why can't we all be patriotic, right? I mean, I fought for my country. I have friends that died.
That's wonderful. Yeah. It's wonderful. I'm very patriotic. I love the country. I want to support the country, and it's something I never served or did anything like that. I really love vets, and Kenny, that's a great thing, but I feel that there's a lot of USA hating right now in the country, and you know what? If you don't like the country, why are you living in it? So you shouldn't live in a place that you don't like, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If you don't like a certain area, you're gonna go move, right? So go.
So can I bring up the music question? Like, this is something that Jimmy used to always do,
Right.
and I wanna uphold the Jimmy torch.
Go ahead.
Jerry, what you listening to now?
Ooh, depends on my mood. If I'm dark and surly, I'll listen to dark music. What do I like? Okay, I like rock and roll. I'm a big Led Zeppelin fan. I like heavy metal. When I say heavy metal, I like Iron Maiden. They're one of my favorite groups. Iron Maiden, particularly the first two albums, which was a different lead singer. I like those first two albums, but I love all Iron Maiden. I used to really be big into Metallica up until the Master of Puppets album when I was younger. When I was in 7th grade, I went to Nassau Coliseum and I saw Master of Puppets, the concert with Ozzy Osbourne. So that was a great concert. 7th grade's very young. I was very young, and I can't tell you what I did there online. So I was young. I was old young. If that makes sense. So
I've never seen Ozzy. I couldn't imagine seeing him at such an impressionable age.
Sure. Well, Metallica was more impressionable because Metallica, the Master of Puppets tour, they had the crosses and they made wood crosses, very nice, and it was all crosses in the background. And then in front of them, that's where the band was. So Metallica was awesome. Ozzy must have been drunk or on drugs at that time. His performance was not that good. But Nassau Coliseum at that concert, they said Ozzy can no longer come back because it was destroyed. People were ripping the bolts. We destroyed the place.
Dude, they banned Ozzy in Alabama too. So.
Oh yeah, they do that. Yeah. So Ozzy, I like old Ozzy. The newer stuff. I like. Who else do I like? I like 90s music, like Alice in Chains I was really into, and the bands from that era I really like. I'm really a big Elvis Presley fan. I like Elvis from the 70s, probably from the Aloha concert up.
Do you pick Elvis over the Beatles?
I really love the Beatles too. What I take musically, the actual skill set, the Beatles will blow away Elvis, but Elvis had a top-notch band in the 70s. Elvis, performance-wise, and just the soul that he puts in it, I like Elvis better. The issue with the Beatles, I'm a John Lennon fan. I like his voice better. Yeah. John Lennon, and what's his name? Steve. I like Steve Harrison, his voice too. I like that better than Paul McCartney. So, so I like the Beatles. Any classic rock I like.
That was my thing. Like I never liked Paul McCartney. Not a fan of Paul McCartney, but I know a lot of people are. I mean, obviously they're the Beatles.
Sure.
So like when I was younger, it was all about John Lennon. The older I got more into George Harrison, and every day it's all about George Harrison. He really was so underappreciated.
Sure. No, Beatles is. I like Southern rock. I like Leonard Skinner. They're cool. I'm into that. I like Ted Nugent. One of my favorite songs is Stranglehold. I don't know if you know that song. If you don't
Here
know,
I come again now, baby.
It's a really good song. And but I like also club music. You have to understand. I grew up in the 80s, and I used to go to clubs all the time. So like the club music with the DJ, I'll listen to that. I have no issue with that as well.
Are you a break dancer, Jerry?
No. I'm not very athletic. I was never. I used to join sports, and then after about a week, I'm like, what am I doing? I don't want to go to practice. I'd rather go and talk to my girls or something in high school. That was more my speed. So that's music.
So Jerry, clubs where, Jerry? In the city or in someplace like Brooklyn?
Not Brooklyn, not Brooklyn. On Long Island. Are you originally from New York?
Yeah, I grew up in Brooklyn.
Okay, Brooklyn, no, but Manhattan. We used to go to clubs in Manhattan often in the late '80s, and around the island.
There was one place on Jericho Turnpike. The name escapes me.
Club 125.
No.
What town was it in Jericho Turnpike?
Did they name their clubs after like their high schools? So it's like this is PS 125 and Club 125.
Off of Rhodes, 25 is Jericho Turnpike. Was it on Jericho Turnpike?
I'll have to message you. I don't remember.
Okay, I would remember it. So, off of Jericho Turnpike, there were a lot of clubs. I live close to that area, so now I grew up in that area.
Yeah, now it bothers me that I forget the name, but I would be lying if I said there was no alcohol involved in those days. So.
Oh, well, listen, it's a different time when I was younger, and when the cops used to go over drinking in the car, they used to make us get out and pour the beer out. Remember the Budweiser suitcases in the 80s?
Yeah.
They used to make us pour the beer out, and they used to say, okay, go home. No breathalyzer, no field sobriety, which you shouldn't drink and drive. If you're going to kill someone, that's not good. But you can have a drink and you're still under the limit, but not me. I don't drink and drive at all. I don't even want to. God forbid you have one drink or a glass of wine. It's not even your problem, and all of a sudden you hit someone or they hit you. Forget it. Your life is over. It's not worth it. I was a part of MAD when I was in 8th grade. Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Have you ever heard about DAM?
What's DAM?
DAM is Mothers Against Dyslexia.
I haven't heard about that one. Oh, that's good. That's a funny one. I have to remember that one.
Oh my lord! Freaking Kenny.
Oh goodness,
that's awesome.
So, what was the last concert you actually attended? That Jerry?
The last concert. The last concert I went to. It was either Rush in Jones Beach, and Rush was a great concert.
That's cool. I've never seen Rush.
They were great, or it could have been I went to go see the Allman Brothers there. They were really good.
I saw the Allman Brothers.
They were really good, and so that was many years ago. Because didn't he die, Greg Allman, recently?
Well, I saw him when Dickie Betts was still playing with him, and this was like right before Dickie Betts quit. That was like 20 years ago.
Who's the guy in what Government Mule? You know Government Mule, Kenny? You ever hear of that?
Yeah, Johnny Lang.
That's the guitar. He's okay. So,
not Johnny Lang.
No, he's a younger guy.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, so he was with the Allman Brothers when I saw them. He was the other guitarist. So
he had taken the place of Dwayne.
Okay. So that's when I saw Iron Maiden in. I think that summer I went to a lot of concerts. It was quite some time ago. I don't go to a lot of concerts. I feel they're a rip-off, to be honest with me. Now I look at the prices of concert tickets.
They're insane.
I am going to see a band. I want to see them. I don't know if you ever heard of Zebra. They're a very good band, Zebra. If you like Led Zeppelin or that type of music, look up Zebra and listen to their first few albums. They're one of my favorite bands, and I didn't mention them. And I'm going to go see them probably in December, I think. They're in a local venue, a pretty big venue. So I'm looking forward to that.
You see, I'm a big Queen fan, but I would never go see Queen that doesn't have Freddie Mercury singing.
Yeah.
Listen, I agree.
Adam Lambert is a great frontman, though. Like he covers them really well.
But part of Queen is the aesthetic of those four individuals together.
I agree 100%, Gary. In a local venue, I just drove by yesterday where I saw it's a place in Huntington in Suffolk County. And I saw that Stone Temple Pilots is going to be there this
my lord,
couple of months. And I liked Stone Temple Pilots. They were really good, but without the lead singer.
Scott Weiland.
Yeah, one time I went to a concert. It was Journey. I'm like, yeah, I really like Journey. I used to love Journey. And I went, and all of a sudden there was an Asian guy singing like for Steve Perry.
Yeah, he's Filipino.
Yeah, he do.
He's amazing.
I care about what he is.
Awesome
I'm
voice.
just saying what he was, but it's not the same thing. It's not, to me at least, it's not the same thing. I don't like it.
Yeah, as good as Sammy Hagar was, you don't want to hear him singing Jump or Panama.
No.
It's got to be David Lee Roth.
Yeah, that's got to be.
Just like with In Excess, without Hutchinson, it's not In Excess to me.
Yeah.
Correct. I tried Alice in Chains. I bought their new album.
Yeah, William Duvall. Like, he's good.
But Jerry, what's the Jerry Cantrell, whatever his name?
Cantrell.
He, if you listen to it now, he was a lot behind that nice music. He was a big part of it, because when you hear him singing, it's really good.
And Gary's eBay's going off.
I was gonna say, I'm looking at my computer like, wait, who just messaged me?
These are. I started a few sports guys are following me now, which is cool. I know cards. I never collected sports cards at all, but it seems like there's a big passion with the sports cards as well.
Oh yeah. I did when I was younger. Like, baseball cards were all the rage in the 80s.
Really?
And Papa, I can't remember his name. There's another YouTuber that started a side baseball card show.
Right.
And I haven't collected any baseball cards since the 90s, but like, all mine are like.
I was never into cards.
I just
other than taking them and putting them in the spokes and listening to them make noise. That was it.
Yeah. Cuckoo clocks. Other than that, because I like to tinker, I take them apart. But
I've never heard about cuckoo clocks before. Where did this come from?
Yeah,
I have one.
Mentioned it in the video.
It's like my third or fourth video. I found a really nice. I only buy German cuckoo clocks. I like German products, German cars. I think they make one of the best products, and they make really good, intricate clocks. So the German clocks, I have probably the cuckoo clocks. I have maybe about 30 or so of them, and some of them are big and elaborate. Maybe I'll put some out. I would like to trade some maybe for comics, because I have just boxes filled with them, and I buy them. They're all cobweb dusted, and I clean them. I take the movement out. I clean the movement.
Yeah, it's cuckoo.
Well, you just sound like someone that. You just sound like someone that needs to keep yourself busy with stuff.
Yeah,
yes, I do. I do. When I'm getting older, I'm relaxing a little bit more, but I like to keep busy. I do.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. So,
no.
Now, you were talking about doing some other stuff on your channel. Is there any kind of sneak preview or anything you have in mind that you're looking to do?
No, I nipped that. I'm not going to do anything else. I try to do stupid, not dumb, but like that core. I show the car and the comic. I'm just trying. I tried to do a few little things that were different, but
I like the car in the comic. I thought it was a fun concept. It's different.
I'll get back into it. I have to clean the car, so I notice things when I'm looking at the videos. There's mark on the carpet, and it bothers me. I'll start doing that again. I started that gas thing because I'm upset. Comics for half the price of a tank of gas, because I'm pissed off.
That was clever, but yeah.
That's another reason why I thought you were so much older, because you could. A lot of the times you just come off as this crotchety old man, like waving his cane. But
when I fill up I have a one of my cars is a Silverado, and it's a flex fuel E85. I love flex fuel. I fill that car up, and I can get it $1.80 something a gallon for flex fuel. I don't know why they're not making more of the flex fuel and if they want to phase out the gasoline, but they're not even making these flex fuel cars anymore because they want to transition to the actual electric cars. So when I'm filling the pump, where a few years ago it was low twos for a gallon of gas. Now, what are you looking at? I'm paying $4 something plus a gallon of gas. pisses me off when it's $80, $90 for a tank of gas.
Right, it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. And what happened? What is nothing to do with political, but what happened from back then to now that we're paying all this money for the gas? It's not much that happened now.
Well,
so
looking at like comic books, Jerry, I mean, it's all about inflation. I mean, in 2008, gas prices jumped to almost $4. And if you think about just the logical increase of gas prices, like that's about where it should have been, but the prices have stayed down. And thank God, you know, like the prices did come down. If you compare the price of gas to a gallon of milk, milk is expensive as shit, right? Like my kids go through 3 gallons a week between my kids and my wife. Like I don't drink milk. Fuck that shit. But like a lot of milk in this family.
And he calls Jerry a crotchety old man. He's yelling at milk.
I'm telling you, yeah, he's dropping F bombs about milk.
You're the
yeah, so like that's the thing. Like honestly, like gas is like at its natural progression. It wants to get higher, you know, and like that's just how it is, you know. Like these, especially like the seasonal
supply
dip.
and demand. It's supply and demand.
Yeah,
and they were.
People are misinformed where it comes from. Like we get most of our oil from Canada. People think it's from overseas, and it's not.
Right. But we were producing fuel not too long ago, and you know that's one of the reasons why it was down. But whatever, people, you need gas, and I think also another issue is now that everyone was staying home. They weren't selling a lot of gas, but I have no basis for any of these things. I'm not a smart person. I'm just speaking my mind. I don't know statistics or anything like that. I don't even.
You should use that for your next like lawyer advertisements. Like, I'm not a smart man. I don't use statistics. Come to Jerry.
Yeah.
Let me represent you. Maybe we'll win. Maybe we won't.
No. I'm very straightforward and I'm very aggressive. And there are a lot of people that go in and do a job that I do, and they're timid and you can't hear them. You're like, well, what are you saying? And I call them out for it. And I try to intimidate people a little bit when, talking to them. It definitely works. Not in this setting, but in job settings.
It's what they call the pit bull. Send them out.
You already told us
Jerry the pit bull.
You already told us to stay away from the eBay stuff.
Yep, telling you.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
Hey, so let me ask you, Jerry. I mean, you're pretty much known for making normal people. Well, I don't want to say normal. Like you do stuff with comic books that make a lot of us cringe.
Right.
So, is there any process that you're too scared to try, that you won't try?
I don't think so. No, I don't think. Because I think I pretty much, at least to what I know, I did everything that could be done to paper. Whether it's good or bad, that's a different story. But it's not much. I think the leaf casting is the game now that I want to start working on, and I think the book I'm working on now, it came out really well, and I perfected the process. So I'm going to go through a lot, and I like it. I'm going to leave because I see a lot of the conserved books when people do the leaf casting, you just leave it natural. So if there's a half a cover missing, you're going to have a cover there, but it's just going to be a natural color of the pulp. I'm not going to start imprinting things on it and doing color touch because I don't want to restore books. I'm looking as a conservationist to history because these are historical documents, in my opinion. I think so, at least.
Are you doing like all of your research for these conservation endeavors that you do? Are you doing those? Is this strictly like eBay or not eBay, online Google searching, or are you actually going and talking to people in museums and stuff like that as well?
Well, a lot of what I do is looking at uploads, not dealing with comics, because a lot of the guys who do what I do, they hold on to their secrets like it's the DNA code that if they give it out, they can change history. They don't publicize things like that. And that's fine because a lot of the guys who do it, the professionals, they make money, and that's what they do.
That's how they do.
I'm not making money.
It's their trade.
It's their trade. But what I do is I researched a lot with just document conservationists in museums. So it doesn't matter if it's a 1940s comic cover or it's an old map or an old contract or a document. They're doing the same thing with the leaf casting, and that's where I learned how to do it.
Okay.
And trial and error.
Well, that, and I think what people don't realize when they watch your channel, and what I always got was part of your personality, is what you do is adventurous. It's like there's a lot of risk taking involved.
Yeah.
You kind of gotta have that adventurous nature about you to take those leaps and those leap of fates that this is gonna turn out okay, and I'm gonna mostly nail this.
Yeah.
I ruined some comics. There's no doubt about it. And now I'm a lot better, and I won't make the same mistakes twice. So 100%, Gary, you're right. I'm getting people on Instagram. I don't know, for some reason I have a lot of followers on Instagram, more than YouTube, like 1,200 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I get maybe a message a week. Will you work on my book? How much does it cost? And I say, no, I just do this for fun. And if I did do it for money and someone paid me, I would need some type of insurance. I'll tell you that right now. And you need a policy of liability insurance, because if I have some crazy bird that eats the book or something happens to the book, sweethearts. I love that. So you have to be covered. You have to be covered. I know that Jerry knows what he's doing.
I know, like when I sent you the first book I sent you, my wife's like, why in the fuck did you send a stranger a $300 comic book? And I said, I just got a feeling, man. Like, it's kind of like hard to explain, but I do have tracking. And I posted a YouTube video, and if he doesn't send it back, I'll just blast the shit out of him when he doesn't. You know? And so, like, this is a private conversation with me and my wife. Like, but like, I just knew, like, Jerry was a good person. Like, you can just know that, right? Yeah. And I never had any doubts. Plus, I sent you an A-OK with it, so I figured I'd get something out of it.
I like that. I don't mind it. It's you know what, it creates content, and I enjoyed it. I like you, Kenny. I like you, Gary. I'll have no problem doing your book. And if I like you, I'm getting like random people. I send you this book. I see you're working on books for people. And
that's me. Sorry about that. I know I got that Spider-Man I was talking about sending you. I'm sorry.
That was a good one. No, it was really good. No, Chip, if I comment, like, listen, it's very hard to comment on everyone. Gary, I don't know how you do it, and I give you credit because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to do it. And I miss
a lot of people.
Evil Mike, you know that guy. He's a nice guy, and and
I love him.
He's very supportive, and I like him. He's a nice guy, and I just looked at the hashtag preparing for this because I like to prepare a little bit. And I saw Jerry the Jitterbug. I hit it, and one of his uploads came up like from a month ago, and I see he's holding a sign, Jerry the Jitterbug. I had no idea. So I sort of feel bad, you know, when
that's
things
awesome.
like that happen. So I just commented, but it's very hard to comment on everyone. And Kenny, you know, we spoke about this. And,
absolutely.
And if anyone's watching this and I don't comment on every one of your,
it's because he hates you. It's because he hates you all.
I like you. I do thumbs up. You can't comment once. If I commented once, you're on my team. That's all I have to say.
There you go.
So,
and it's tough. The more subs you get and the more people you're subbing, it becomes something that's ultimately unmanageable.
Yeah.
It does.
And Dank is in the comments now. I see him. And like he told me something, like he was only at like 300 subscribers at this point. And we were talking about like how awesome it would be to like have more subscribers. And he's like, you don't want more subscribers because when it gets to the point, you're not going to be able to talk to anybody. You're not going to talk to the people that you're subscribed to. It's good when it's small. And when it gets out of control, you're not going to talk to anyone. And I know he's so smart, right? That's why everybody loves Dank is he knows, right? And that's the truth. the more subscribers we get, more people coming in. Like I can't keep up with all the people I used to, and I don't talk to you, Jerry, like I used to, because there's other subscribers and stuff.
No, I get it. It's fine. It's
That's because he's jealous of your Golden Age books, Jerry.
No,
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
collection. No, I understand. It's very hard. And like there's sometimes when I have a popular video, I can get maybe 40 comments sometimes, or 35, 40 comments. And I make a point to respond to everyone who leaves a comment, even if it's a little thank you or this. It's just something, or a thumbs up, or one of those emojis or anything like that. But it is hard, and it's when it starts feeling like a job, you have to back off a little bit, and that's why I'm only doing uploads. I tried to set a goal where, okay, I'm not going to upload another video until I get 100 views, and it used to take 2 days, 3 days, a week sometimes. Now I'm doing it, and I'm seeing I'm getting over 100 views, sometimes 15 hours on some uploads, especially with the water. Whenever I put anything in water, I'm going to get a turkey, I'm going to put it in water, people will like it. So water is the key thing.
Right? Well, anything that makes us break out in anxiety while we're watching you do it is probably the key.
That's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
I'll continue doing it.
So when you crack that Hulk 181 and you throw that in the bath, everyone's going to freak out and you're going to get like 1,000 comments.
I am going to do that. I'm going to do it with the 0.5 one, because I have a 0.5 one that I doodled on. I'm going to try to get that out of a purple label. I think I can. And I'm going to work on it. That's after I get this book that I'm working on now back. If I get a conserved grade, I know what to do, and I think I can get it a purple to a blue label.
Cool. That'd be awesome.
What time is it? Ooh, 11 o'clock. I thought this was an hour, Gary.
It was, but
It was. You're special.
We've been going for an hour and a half. We will definitely wrap it up because I do have to go to bed. But we've all been waiting to talk to you, so I wasn't trying to rush anything or rush anybody.
I'm
trying to let you have your stage.
I hope I was entertaining. I hope I was good. So,
Absolutely, it's been an absolute pleasure.
We'll kill part 1 here, and then you'll come back next week, and we'll get it all done.
I will come back because we can. Unfortunately, I do like to talk a lot when I get going. So, but it's good. It makes good content.
That's good to have for a guest, though. You don't want the guest that goes, "Yep."
Oh yeah, I've seen it. I've seen that. And you go to another channel, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Now, one question I have: these comments, from the live chat, is there any way I can go back and see them, or it's done once?
I think they're available for a limited time while it's uploading, so you can go back and review them.
Okay. I'm just curious.
Everyone's been great. We had one guy that got offended. He'll be okay.
Oh, there was one offended person?
Yeah, but, when you're getting offended, I think you're just not allowing other people to be themselves as well. I'm not worried about it. When I have people on the show, there's usually one person that disagrees, and it is what it is. You can't have commentary without somebody not agreeing with you and being mad about it. That's the nature of commentary.
And honestly, people just don't like Chip.
I'm looking now to see who it was.
Yeah.
I know who it was, but I'm not going to call anyone out. It's not important. It's okay.
It's not. Listen,
but you can have a YouTube channel on apples, and someone would be like, if I fucking see a Mount Fuji apple, I swear to God,
Shahan.
Listen, you're going to offend people, and that's fine. Sorry if I offended someone. I thought I was pretty good. I think we were all pretty good. I can't even see anything that we could have said that could have really offended someone.
Dude, it's been a wonderful show. Don't you lose a second of sleep over it.
No, yeah, trust me. Yeah.
I won't. Thank you.
And you're welcome back on this show anytime that you want a platform to talk and hang out with us. Or you got something new coming out that you want to... Yeah, see? There's Taylor right there. He offends people weekly, and they still watch him.
A little controversy isn't bad, I'm telling you. It's pretty good. Is anything... No, I really just doing what I'm doing. Hey, Slim. Slim was one of my first subscribers. How are you?
Yeah.
So
I think he's one of everybody's first.
I know.
subscribers. Slim
Sean is
supports
awesome.
Everybody in the community, and I honestly don't know how he has time to do it. I am so overwhelmed with so little time, and Slim is always there.
Yeah.
the only thing I have is let's get that 600 subscriber giveaway done if we can, because I want to give those books away. So I think I'm like, I don't even know. Maybe I lost subscribers tonight, but I think I'm maybe 6 or 7 away, maybe 20 now. But that's okay. We'll make it back. I'll put something up tomorrow. I'll put a cover in the water and I'll grab them back. So, but everyone, that's what I want to do. And other than that, I really have nothing coming up or to promote. It's just I want to say thank you to my subscribers, and I really appreciate it. And it's a nice community. It's fun, and as you can see, I do like working on people's books that I like. And I will continue doing it. There's James. James is really a good. He's always thanked. All these guys.
He was an early supporter of my channel too. James is really active in the community.
James, he's great. He shoots me messages sometimes on Instagram when he sees a book that he thinks that I would like. So he's definitely a great guy, and it's very nice when you have supporters. And you know, it may sound a little corny, but it makes you feel good when you have supporters and people that stick with you. So I like it a lot. So thank you to all my subscribers, and I'm glad I give you some form of entertainment. I get comments that a husband and wife watch my videos. They get nervous when the cover goes into the water, and I commented back, I'm glad that it's a family event. So it's cool. I enjoy it. So thanks, guys, very much.
Well, you're very welcome. So
I have like 40.
What's
I was
that?
gonna say I have like 40 more questions, but I'll stop.
We'll
Maybe
have
for the
a
next
part
time.
2 with Gary.
Okay.
We got a few people we got to have a part 2 with.
Yes, schedule me. I think I have something going on in next week in Metarog's channel. I'm going to go talk with Roger, dealing with his book that I worked on. So he wants to unveil it on his station. I think Mike, I don't know if you know his channel. I know I mentioned him before, Night Tiger Comics. He has a cool channel. You know him. You would like him, Kenny, because he has a lot of Golden Age books.
Okay,
check him out
cool.
if you're not subscribe. So, and I think Jimmy, I'm going to do the 10 questions. I don't know if he still wants me because he's been
Yeah,
asking.
I knew it. I knew that's why he's not here tonight. He's like, you know,
saving his 10.
I could either go on The Usual Suspects and interview Jerry, or I can go watch Korn and then interview Jerry by himself, and it's just me and him. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I knew.
So I'll do that. I'll set my rented Home Depot lights up, and I'll set it up for that. So that's pretty cool.
You should pick on him first, though. You got to bust his balls, though, Jerry. You got to say, "Look, man, thought you were going to be in The Usual Suspects, and then you flaked on me. I don't know. You know, wind him up a little bit. He needs it."
It's fine. But I did promise you, Gary, that my first face reveal would be your channel, and I like to stick by my word. And then I told Jimmy after Gary, I'll do it. And so I'm sure I'll be doing that. But he said something that he's big into the college basketball, so this is the season. So he doesn't.
Yeah.
And
But by the way, you're at 600 now.
Oh, that's okay. Really? Thank you. Okay, good. Oh, I thought that was.
and honestly,
Just check.
coming on my show to do a face reveal is the easiest thing to do because there's no way that anyone comes on my show is going to look worse than me. It's a really easy PM.
Oh, I got a haircut today. I had to look good for you, Gary. So it was very good. I haven't got a haircut like in 2 months waiting for this, so it's fine. And I appreciate you guys very much.
So we'll wind this out like we usually do. We'll start at the top with Chip saying goodbye. We'll move our way down, and then Jerry. We always let our guests have the last goodbye.
Okay,
So
beautiful.
we'll start it out. Chip, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, goodbye all, and happy hunting, everyone, man. That's it.
Mr.
That's all I
Kenny
got.
Caps. He fell asleep over there.
Are you okay?
Yep,
So-
there he is. He's awake.
No, I'm awake. It's just I was waiting for you to expand us, and I thought you were going to do that for Chip, but whatever. It doesn't matter.
Oh,
All right. If you're watching my channel, thank you. But if not, please subscribe to Jerry the Jitterbug. And if you want to know how awesome he is, just look at his videos. He's amazing. Jerry the Jitterbug is the best.
Thank you, Kenny. That's very nice. I appreciate it. Very nice.
Yep.
Checks in the mail.
I have to agree. Thank you very much for coming out public. Well, that didn't sound right. Thank you for unveiling that handsome face of yours tonight. It's very much appreciated. Your videos for me are not only cathartic, but sometimes a little like, I can't believe what this guy is doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And to hear the New York, and I've commented several times that your voice sometimes makes me homesick.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Thank you very much again. I appreciate you, and the work you do is fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And Jerry, I think I'm glad that I found your channel in what I consider the early days.
Sure.
So I've been watching you for a while now. As you know, I've commented on I think almost every single one of your videos. I love what you do. And I don't know, it's just always a joy to see where something begins and the journey you take it and where it ends is fascinating. And, you know, I can't wait to see you as the new Reed Richards in the next MCU movie.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to that. Even they give you someone nice to play Sue Storm against.
Okay, that's cool.
But Jerry, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for trusting us enough to do the face reveal in the show. It was actually very kind of you and nice. I certainly appreciate that this show was the first. I probably would have saved it for my own channel, you know, and did the big thing on your channel. But I appreciate you coming on my small channel to do it. Thank you, sir.
No,
And
that's
the
fine.
stage is yours, buddy.
I want to thank you, Gary, because you basically, I think, started my channel because I was one of the shout outs when you did it. And I had I think I had 30 subscribers. And then after that, it slowly started to build. So I want to thank you. And you're a great part of the community. Hope you win that award. You know, we're both nominated. I'm not really following it that much. I'll see what happens. I'm not a political campaigner, but it is a cool thing. And just thank you to all my subscribers. And I really appreciate it. And keep on commenting. Keep on stopping by. And if you're there and I get comments and views, I'll keep on doing it. And hope you enjoy it. And that's all I have to say. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Very welcome. All right, chat. Thank you guys, everyone in the chat participated tonight. We appreciate you. And as we end all this every single week, I will sing us out with awkward ending, awkward ending.